In a cozy town in Russia, pastry chef Anya has a wonderful relationship with her boyfriend Zhenya, who works at a swimming pool and is obsessed with fitness. When the two of them met, Anya looked like a supermodel. But since then, she started to work in a bakery, and food became an addiction to her. As months pass, she starts to gain weight in a noticeable way, but Zhenya doesn't bring it because he knows it's a sensitive topic. One day, Anya gets an invitation to a wedding, and she gets nervous when she sees herself in the mirror considering how much her body changed. When she starts trying on the dresses she has, they don't fit, and some of them even rip. After lots of testing, finds one dress that fits decently and tells herself that nobody will notice the difference. Zhenya does notice though, and while he doesn't say anything, his face is obviously not happy. Anya notices his reaction and gets even more nervous, especially when she remembers all of Zhenya's fitness friends will be there too. Anya admits she doesn't feel like going to the party and offers a night of pizza and TV instead. Zhenya lets her stay, but he has to go because this is a close friend, so he promises he'll just give his speech and come back quickly. To try to hide his dislike, Zhenya picks Anya up and sits her on the counter, but he turns away when she tries to kiss him, which upsets her. After Zhenya leaves, Anya gets into comfortable clothes and weighs herself. Seeing the numbers going up to 76 kilos, she decides today she'll only drink water. However, she ends up making fried food anyway. When she checks her social media, she finds pictures of the wedding. All girls look beautifully skinny, and it makes her feel awful. To make matters worse, there's a video of a girl kissing Zhenya on the cheek, since obviously stayed at the party after all. Anya gets furious and rushes to change to attend the wedding party, calling her best friend Natasha to pick her up. Natasha also notices Anya has gained weight, but she doesn't comment on it. In fact, she thinks Anya looks beautiful and reminds her to love herself. When Anya arrives at the party, she finds Zhenya dancing with the girl closer than friends should. Jealous, Anya immediately gets between them and kisses Zhenya, causing the girl to get away. Zhenya is visibly annoyed but doesn't comment on it. After the dance, the couple takes a sear and Anya begins eating while asking why Zhenya was so close to that girl, but he says it was a group dance. Her jealousy causes Zhenya to finally admit he doesn't like her anymore because she's become a burden for him and that he's been thinking about breaking up all week. An argument ensues that gets interrupted by the photographer and the newlywed couple wanting to say hi, so Anya tries to hide how upset she is for the sake of the party. However, the bride wonders if Anya is pregnant and that destroys her. Afterward, Daya properly breaks up with her and gets away, leaving Anya in tears. Anya leaves the party and takes the bus way to see her mom, not caring about having to cross the countryside in those heels. When she arrives, her mother Olga is in the middle of a date. Olga wants her daughter and her boyfriend to get along, but things are very awkward, and Anya doesn't speak up until the man leaves. Anya tells Olga what happened, and Olga points out Anya isn't fat, she just has thick boobs, but this only makes Anya's mood worse. That night Anya stays at her mother's home and can't stop looking at pictures of Zhenya, because she still misses him even if he was a twat. She also finds an old picture of herself, which doesn't help her mood either. The next day, Natasha invites Anya to stay at her place, which she shares with her husband Dimas. It turns out Zhenya was here last night to drop off all of Anya's things, so Anya accepts to take the bed on the balcony until she finds her own place. Natasha also tries to comfort Anya to help her forget and move on, but Anya only rants her heart out, complaining about her boyfriend but also admitting she wants him back. Dimas tries to help too, telling Anya she's beautiful, but this only makes it worse because she can tell he's being nice out of compromise. Anya stays in bed for many days, not being able to cope with her sadness. One afternoon Natasha finally has had enough and shares the story of a friend of hers that also got dumped. Instead of crying all day long, that friend went to the gym and lost all her extra weight in just a month. When the boyfriend saw her again, the guy came to her office with flowers to beg her to take him back, but the girl told him to push those flowers up his end. All this can be done for free by using the 1-week free trial in every gym in the city. Dimas interrupts their talk with a bucket of water to force Anya to wash, making her laugh for the first time in a while. Later that day, Anya only consumes a glass of water and promises to try. Sadly, her first experience at a gym ever is a total disaster. She doesn't understand how to use the equipment and she just keeps falling, making her extremely frustrated, not to mention the pressure of seeing everyone else thin and working out well. By the time she's done, she ends up comforting herself with lots of fast food. Natasha sees this because she works at that joint and scolds her for her lack of commitment, throwing out her food before she can finish. Natasha chooses this moment to inform Anya she'll soon be moving to Moscow, so Anya needs to work hard to be able to move on soon. When Anya returns home, she applies a special cream on her bell and wraps it up, since she heard this trick could help her lose weight. However, while waiting for the trick to work, she keeps eating junk food. Her addiction is getting so bad that she wakes up in the midnight to take food from the fridge, and Natasha has to stop her. The fact Anya works at a bakery doesn't help. Whenever she licks her fingers while decorating, she tries to make up for it while exercising a bit in the kitchen. For lunch she only has tea. Throughout the rest of the day, she manages to control herself by drinking lots of water. But when she's left alone with a cake, the temptation is too much. After lots of pacing and even breaking a shelf, Anya gives in and eats half of the cake by herself while crying. Finally accepting how bad her problem has gotten, Anya looks for a self-help group dedicated to eating disorders. When she attends her first meeting, she's surprised to see they're all women except for one boy named Kolya. Anya gives them a fake name and says she doesn't have a problem, she's just here as a journalist to write an article about eating disorders. The people in the group don't like the use of that words and being called gluttons, so an argument begins over choosing a nicer sounding game. Suddenly Kolya calls them out, saying everyone here including himself is fat. He also calls Anya fat directly, causing her to pretend to get a phone call and leave the meeting in shame. Kolya follows her in his car, calling out her lying and pointing out she's in denial about her problem. He also invites her to have lunch together, but Anya turns him down. Afterward Anya goes to a restaurant and Kolya finds her there too. He throws away her juice as he complains about sugar, then proposes to be each other's fitness sponsors. If they keep each other accountable, they'll be able to exercise every day and find emotional support when they're having temptations. Anya is skeptical but Kolya gives her his number and asks her to call him. When she returns home, Anya looks Kolya up on social media and notices how hard he's working. The next day Kolya shows up at Natasha's and asks Anya to come for a run. Anya doesn't want to, but Natasha pushes her to go. During their first few days, Anya is embarrassed to be seen with Kolya and doesn't want to exercise. However, Kolya doesn't give up on her, and as time passes, Anya learns to depend on him. He's actually a very sweet guy and seeing him not be ashamed of his own body is very inspiring. Kolya and Anya become very good friends and are there for each other before every meal to provide support and understanding, making the process of losing weight less scary and frustrating. They establish an exercise routine and even join marathons. Anya learns to see how people are obsessed with food during everyday life and everyone wants to feed her, so she starts keeping count of the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates she consumes to fix her diet. She also brings healthy lunches to work and has lots of arguments with Olga whenever the topic of food comes up. Thanks to all this hard work, Anya begins to lose weight and regain some confidence. However, this confidence is often put down whenever Anya finds herself surrounded by skinny girls, especially in contexts like pool parties. Kolya never gives up on her and comforts her whenever this happens, teaching her to scream to relieve stress and sharing his secret spot on the lake. One thing hasn't changed though, Anya still wants Zhenya back, going as far as leaving a comment on Zhenya's social media, and that makes Kolya jealous. Natasha is having trouble too, she keeps chatting with people from Moscow because of work and Dimas doesn't like it, so he keeps working on ways to sabotage the move. After a month and a half, Anya has lost enough weight to feel confident and visit Zhenya. She goes to the swimming pool where he works and pretends to bump into him by accident. Zhenya can't believe what he's seeing, and the two begin chatting like the old times. They also play in the water as if nothing had happened. They have a delightful afternoon together until the girl from the wedding shows up and Anya is devastated to hear she's dating Zhenya. With her heart broken again, Anya breaks her habits to match and spends the night drinking and partying to forget. A guy takes interest in her and leaves with her. The next day, Anya wakes up in a strange bed, but it turns out this is Kolya's place and he swears nothing happened between them. Anya makes an effort and remembers that last night, she also went home with a stranger, but Kolya arrived just in time to save her because the guy was wrong to take advantage of a drunk woman. This got him punched in the face. On their way home, Anya spent the entire trip complaining about Zhenya and her missing father. Kolya now thinks that Anya suffers from emptiness because of her father leaving her as a kid, and she fills that emptiness with food. She also seeks Zhenya's validation because she wants a mean man in her life to want her back. Ready to test this theory, Anya goes to see her mom again to ask her for her dad's number. Olga gives it to her even if she thinks it's a bad idea because that man hurt them both. Anya calls her dad and they have an awkward conversation where he agrees to give her his address so she can visit him. Then Anya looks in the drawers for the jacket her dad gifted her before he left. Anya asks Kolya to drive her to her father's home, and Kolya accepts if Anya in return goes to cheer for him in his next race, although Anya doesn't like the idea much. Since it's a long trip, they stop to take lots of selfies and have some fun. Kolya tries to put his arm around Anya's seat, but she always pushes him away. When they arrive at their destination, Anya finally meets her father Sergey and discovers he's living with a woman. Conversation during lunch is quite awkward, and when they have a moment alone, Anya wonders why her dad wasn't part of her life. Sergey immediately points out that when he tried to visit her for her birthday, Anya sent him away by showing him the finger through the window. Anya gives him the jacket and remembers the time they used to dance together, but Sergey thinks she's trying to make him look like a clown and leaves the table. Sometime later, Anya accidentally drops a candle and sets a fire that consumes the house, the flames even caught on her back. Kolya immediately helps her, but instead of worrying about her daughter's injuries, Sergey yells at her for ruining everything. Kolya comes in defense, but Annie decides to go home. The trip back is quiet and awkward. When Kolya drops Anya at Olga's place, she kisses him on the nose to thank him. Kolya thinks his flirting has finally returned and is in an amazing mood all day, even going as far as trading his watch to buy flowers for Anya. Sometime later, Zhenya visits Anya and brings her flowers to apologize for everything. Anya is still weak to his charms and they end up getting frisky. While they're busy, Kolya shows up with his own flowers, but he sees them through the window and decides to leave to take care of his broken heart. After their fun times are done, Zhenya comments that breaking up turned out a good thing because it motivated Anya to lose weight. This makes Anya realize that Zhenya hasn't changed and that being with him would mean living in constant fear of her own body causing another breakup. Hurt but determined not to go through this again, Anya kicks Zhenya out. Later, Olga announces she's getting married, and Anya cries because she can't be happy like her. In the evening, Anya visits Natasha, who is having a party at her house. Natasha wants to share her problems, but Anya isn't in the mood to hear her because she has her own stuff to deal with. Subtly, one of the partygoers gives Anya a pipe to hide, and Anya accidentally drops it over the balcony, causing it to fall on top of a police car. A cop comes to the apartment to arrest them for their illegal smoking, so Natasha bribes him to make him go away. That money was the last savings she had to go to Moscow, and Dima sees it as a sign she shouldn't leave. An argument ensues about their dreams for the future, and when Natasha tries to help, Natasha yells at her. Anya always received help from her yet never returned the favor, and Natasha is tired of being the responsible one. As Natasha and Dimas keep fighting, Anya leaves to visit Kolya at the secret lake spot, looking for his support and comfort. However, Kolya is angry and throws an apple at her, saying that if she doesn't love herself nobody will love her. He also breaks their sponsorship and tells her to get a new fat friend. After Kolya leaves, a group of mean guys surround Anya with their bikes, so she has to run away in tears. She ends up falling asleep in the middle of the wheat camp. The next morning, Olga's boyfriend saves Anya just in time before a harvester runs over her, and Anya learns he has a drinking problem. Afterward, Anya goes to see Natasha, but nobody will open the door. A neighbor hears her and allows her to climb through his window to sneak inside Natasha's place. Anya apologizes to her for being a horrible friend and tells her to go to Moscow because she deserves it. The girls spend their last afternoon together as a goodbye. Later, Anya helps Olga's boyfriend to get rid of all his alcohol by setting it on fire, then she surprises Olga by showing she accepts her future marriage. The next day, Sergei comes to see Anya and apologizes for not trying to be in her life more. To prove he cares, he dances with her like they used to when she was a kid. Touched by the memory, Anya accepts to reconcile with him. When Sergei asks about Kolya, Anya explains what happened, and Sergei points out that if they can make up, she can do the same with her friend. Anya asks Sergei to drive him to the marathon and finds Kolya about to break the rules to drink some soda. Anya immediately takes it away and becomes the strict but caring sponsor he needs, and points out nobody loves themselves as Kolya does, so he should see himself as the inspiration he is. The duo ends up running the marathon together and completing it after lots of suffering. Kolya is so delighted that he can't help kissing Anya to celebrate. Anya doesn't mind because she's learned to appreciate the kind of proud happiness Kolya has in his life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.